I'll call this meeting to order. As a reminder, if everyone can please silence your cell phones so as to not disrupt the hearings, that would be great. My name is Monica Schmucker. I am the appointed special magistrate to hear today's code enforcement hearings. There we go. Can you hear me okay? Is this good? All right. I am a licensed Florida attorney, a certified mediator, and qualified arbitrator. I am qualified to serve as the appointed special magistrate for the town of Fort Myers Beach. I'm here to hear today's code enforcement proceedings as provided for in Chapter 2, Article 5 of the Fort Myers Beach Land Development Code and Florida Statute, Chapter 162. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. And I did review the minutes, and I will approve them without any changes. So I will sign those. Yeah, okay. Is that, are these?
Oh, they were good. We'll get them after.
All right, I'll get these then. Next, we're going to hear the cases on the agenda. These are quasi-judicial hearings, which means they're similar to cases in court. However, the rules are less formal. Formal rules of evidence do not apply, but fundamental due process will apply and govern today's proceedings. In each case, I'll listen to the facts and evidence before me and apply them to applicable law. The cases will be heard in the order that they appear on the agenda unless the parties wish to make any changes now. In all cases, the town has the burden of proof and will present the case first. The respondent will then have the opportunity to speak, present evidence, and refute the town's allegations. All parties who are here to speak on a case will have the opportunity to do so. At the conclusion of each case, I'll issue an order with findings of fact and conclusions of law and affording the proper relief consistent with Florida law. And I'll either make my decision today or within 15 days. At this time, I'd like to ask anybody who's here to testify to please stand up so you could be sworn in. You raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. Right. The agenda. The town may call its first case and give me just 1 second so I can switch. Alright, is case number 2024-0743, address 190 Bayview Avenue, Sullivan Scott.
That's me.
Okay. The town may call. You may proceed.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
My name is Officer Bad. I'm a Code Compliance Officer with the town of Fort Myers Beach, and I've served in the capacity for approximately 10 months with 5 years prior experience elsewhere. I've been sworn in and will provide testimony and documentation regarding this case. Our documentation is attached to the agenda as exhibits, and we're going to ask that all documents are accepted into evidence.
All of the documents that were provided before this hearing will
Did
be.
you want a paper copy?
Do you have an extra one? Okay. Make sure that respondent does get a copy. Do you have an extra one? Okay.
Thank you.
We bring before you Fort Myers Beach Code Case 204-24-0743. The subject property is located at 190 Bayview Avenue, Fort Myers Beach, 33931. Exhibit A contains the documentation that the respondent Sullivan Scott B. owns the real property that is subject of this code enforcement case. Included in Exhibit A is a copy of the warranty deed, copy of the Lee County tax collector, receipt, and a copy of the Lee County property appraisers. True, accurate, and unaltered copies have been marked as Exhibit A and accepted into the record. On August 15th, 2024, I observed Sullivan Scott B. in violation of the town Fort Myers Beach Code ordinance, specifically the construction of a wood deck and or structure outside the scope of work on permit 236648. True, accurate, and unaltered copies of the pictures taken on the date of first site inspection have been marked as Exhibit B and accepted into the record. A notice of violation was issued on August 15, 2024, and sent by certified mail receipt to the property owner's address of record, specifically 1 Valley View Drive, Savannah, Illinois, 61074. posted at the town hall located at 2731 Oak Street, Fort Myers Beach, Florida 33931, and a copy uploaded to the town of Fort Myers Beach website for publication. A copy of the notice of violation was also posted to the subject property located at 190 Bayview Avenue, Fort Myers Beach 33931 on August 16, 2024. True, accurate, and unaltered copies of these documents including an affidavit of posting for the notice of violation and a copy of section 2-429 have been marked as Exhibit C and accepted into the record. Sullivan Scott B. was given 30 days to come into compliance with the town of Fort Myers Beach ordinance, which was on or before September 28, 2024. I performed a reinspection of the subject property on January 23rd, 2025, and the subject property was still of the town of Fort Myers Beach in violation of the town of Fort Myers Beach ordinance, and no contact had been made. Based on my reinspection of the subject property, I prepared an affidavit of noncompliance and photos and started the process to bring the case before the special magistrate. True, accurate, unaltered copies of which have been marked as Exhibit D and accepted into the record. As a result of the subject property owner's failure to bring the subject property into full compliance with Chapter 6-481 for working outside the scope of a permit of the town code as of January 23rd, 2025, they were provided with a notice of code enforcement hearing for today's hearing, as established in Exhibit C. Chapter 6-481 of the town code has been marked as Exhibit E and accepted into the record. Your Honor, at this time I would like to ask permission to add Exhibit F, a copy of the affidavit of posting, a copy of notice today's hearing, a copy of photo certified mail receipt, a photo of the notice of hearing posted on January 27th, 2025, to the violation property located at 190 Bayview Avenue, Fort Myers Beach, Florida 33931. A photo of the notice of hearing posted on January 27th, 2025, to Town Hall, both inside and in a window for 24-hour visibility located at 2731 Oak Street, Fort Myers Beach, Florida 33931. A copy of the posting to Town Hall website for publication, and two permits, number 236648 and number 243180, which neither of them address the deck. All documents are true, accurate, and unaltered copies.
Yes, I'll take a look, and if you could provide a copy. Is it Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
You can have a seat right over here,
Okay.
at this table here. There you go. And should provide you, just take a look at that.
Just pick up the whole stand and everything.
I'm gonna take a look at it before I admit it. And Mr. Sullivan, just let me know if you have any objection to the admission of these.
No?
Alright, they'll be admitted.
Based on my sworn testimony and the evidence that has been presented to you, including the exhibits within the agenda packet, on behalf of the town of Fort Myers Beach, I request that an order be issued finding a violation of section 6-481, including an order to correct the above listed violation, the imposition of any administration fee of $250 to cover the cost in bringing this matter before the special magistrate, and a fine not to exceed the $250 a day. Each violation continues past the date of compliance. To come into compliance with section 6-481, I have Kendra Rose, the zoning coordinator for Town of Fort Myers Beach, available for further explanation and any questions.
She's like, I don't wanna talk.
She was not sworn in, so can I swear her in? Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
She's here to answer any questions towards compliance to help with, because I've never made contact with Mr. Sullivan from
Okay.
day one.
Do you,
So-
do you have any questions of her or anything particular you want her to explain at this time? Okay, so, alright, I admitted these. Give me 1 second, and you can, just give me 1 sec, and then you can, you can stand up at the podium if you'd like.
Sure.
And
So I'm not, my contractor who's supposed to be here, hasn't made it yet. He applied for the permits, and I've been going back and forth with him for quite some time, making sure that the permits were all taken care of. He assured me they were, and we've had some conversation. I know that they've had some issues because the deck and the tiki hut, it's all one thing. There's supposed to have been some issues there, saying they want maybe 2 permits. It's all one structure, and that seems to be some confusion on their part. Do you know, or I've been told, and I've actually had several people look at this, and most people are a little confused as to why we have to have 2 permits, one for the tiki hut, which basically it's just to cover over top the
And
deck.
And what,
We're confused on that one.
okay, so, so as respondent, you have the opportunity to ask questions. I'm sorry, could you please repeat your name?
Kendra Rosa.
Kendra Rosa, could you come up to the podium?
Oh, sure.
Okay, and then, state your name for the record when you get there.
Kendra Rosa.
Okay, perfect. So if you have a question of her, you may ask that of her.
We're trying to figure out, because I'm being told the permits have been submitted, they've been approved, they're paid for, all that stuff. And all we're waiting for, the confusion seems to be that there is, some information, whether the tiki hut, which is just the structure over top of the deck, do they have to have 2 permits, or is there just 1 permit? Because it's all one structure.
Okay, thank you, go, you may explain.
So I had a conversation with our building official yesterday, and he said that the Cheeky Hut is not regulated, or it's exempt by the Florida Building Code. The structure for the raised deck is actually, that is needed for a building permit, because that actually has building code related things that he needs to review.
The deck itself.
Right, the Cheeky basically is more of a zoning permit that we check the setbacks.
Okay, is there a permit for that deck?
Not that I'm aware of.
Neither one of these permits address that deck whatsoever.
Okay. What, you can stand here for me, or you can stay there, it's up to you, but which ones are permitted? Sorry if you
No,
said
no.
that already, but.
Number 236648 actually addresses the pool that was installed, and received back in December of 2023 for the pool and like surrounding decking, what's it called, placement
Pavers.
stuff, the pavers,
Okay,
surrounding the pool. The other deck strictly addresses the tiki hut itself. There's no permit for the decking even included in the tiki hut permit itself, in number 243180.
So, the confusion on my part, and I believe on the contractor's part, is when they submitted,
Sir, can you use the microphone, please?
yeah,
I think the confusion is, when they submitted for the tiki hut, it was all planned, the deck and the tiki hut were all part of one structure. And that's where I'm getting confused, because I thought everything was taken care of, and I've continued to ask. I've had other people look into it, realtors saying, hey, what am I doing wrong here? And they're like, well, there seems to be a little confusion between the deck and the tiki hut.
okay.
And,
Who's the contractor you said you wanted to be here?
his name, it's, Knight Creations,
Did you say Knight?
Knight, K-I-N-G-H-T. And I believe he's on his way, but he's not here.
Okay,
The other issue with this case is I've actually been dealing with it since August of last year, and this is the first contact I've had with Mr. Sullivan. I had a phone call from a Jennifer, who I have
Yes.
no idea who she has contact with or into what that capacity to the property is, other than she worked for him in some capacity, whether a contractor of some sort.
She's the contract.
Yesterday, the day before.
She's not been in touch with anyone prior to?
No, I haven't, not myself,
Okay.
being the code officer. So my problem was not having any contact whatsoever, whether it be posted in NOVs that I sent out in August.
So here's a question, in order for this to come into compliance, he would need a permit for the deck,
Mhm.
the raised deck. Is that it? I mean, the rest of it is
That's
properly permitted.
Permitted, except for the tiki hut is not, they're both in a review status, so they haven't been finalized. Once the inspectors go out, final it, it'll actually show in our computer system that it's been finalized and it's good to go. Once it's issued, as far as I'm concerned, it's complied, because of the simple fact of they've already followed all that. Unless they happen to by chance stop work, didn't finish all the final things, then it would recreate another case and we would go from there.
Is the deck done, or is it still under?
The deck's done. It was installed before the tiki hut.
And what's the timeline on a permit for the deck?
It could take anywhere from, we'll say 2 to 3 weeks on the safe side. With going into different people's computer system desks and complied, composed, final, issued, it goes into review status, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Would you like to see a picture of it?
Well,
A picture of the deck?
have you seen the photographs that they
Yeah.
sent? Or that they admitted? Do you wanna,
Well, I have a few snapshots here on my phone if you'd like to see. I didn't see, I don't think it really shows the completed deck, where it looks like it's all one. Oh,
is this your
This is the contract.
contractor? Okay, do you wanna call him up?
Yes,
Okay.
Craig, could you step up here with me?
Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You have questions for this witness?
You need to use a mic, please.
Are both of
Or-
those,
yeah.
okay, are both of those mics on?
Yes.
Okay, so how about, I'm sorry, sir, what's your name?
Craig.
What's your- Craig Knight. Okay, Mr. Knight, could you please stand at the podium? And then Mr. Sullivan, you may
I'll sit
use,
here.
yep, you may use that microphone right there. Perfect.
So, Craig, when we started this project, the deck, we assumed that the deck and the tiki hut were one structure, is that correct?
Yes, it is, it's connected, it's, the post, the deck is tied to the post of the tiki.
So, we filed permits for
Right.
the structures,
The
correct?
site plan, right, that you gave me originally had the tiki deck and the deck on there, everything. And I believe you said you had, somebody at the city had already gone over that plan with you?
Yeah, I had looked at, yes, I had been up here with the city and we looked at it, what changes had to be made, absolutely.
I've got a copy of it on my phone as far as the site plan. I
Okay.
don't know if that
It-
helps.
What it's come down to, Craig, is, it looks like we need to get because everything's done, we need to get one more permit that says the deck has to be completed, it's $250. Is that correct, Megan?
I don't know how much a
Oh.
permit is off the top of my head, but
So you're requiring two different, permits for the
Yeah.
one structure, basically? Or is the tiki separate, how is that?
So when I did the review yesterday for the Cheeky, I'm only reviewing the setbacks of the structure. The site plan that was provided wasn't very clear on where the location of the Cheeky was, and it didn't show me the setbacks. That's what I reviewed. But with talking to the building official, he said for a Cheeky, it's more of a zoning permit, cause that's really, it's exempt by the Florida Building Code. The deck itself,
So that's the site plan, right? That's the
Right.
setbacks.
so where
The
it's,
tiki
this
is-
site plan is not clear.
Oh, it's not,
No, it's not.
as far as not clear meaning,
so,
you can't read it or the
Yes,
verbiage
I cannot read it,
on the plan, so.
yeah.
okay, so I can't see what you're looking at, but, could it be that the permit for the tiki encompassed the deck?
It could, I didn't look that far into the plans. I was more looking at the site plan.
And could it be if the permit that he pulled I mean, I understand that the tiki is a separate thing, but the permit that he pulled, if it included that deck,
We can look at it as one permit. I would say that would be okay.
And I'm not opposed if you guys wanted a separate permit. I'm just concerned that we're getting a notice when we're, from the original notice, we immediately started to put in for permit.
you have to be on the microphone today.
We started to put in for the permit, and since I think beginning of November,
Right.
and we got another notice, and I don't want Mr. Sullivan to be getting fined and issues like that when we're trying to
I understand.
achieve what you
You're
guys are
trying
looking
to
for.
comply.
Yes,
I
yes,
understand.
ma'am.
I think part of it too is a lack of communication, because for this to come before me, there has to have been multiple notices, and I have proof of multiple
Right,
notices.
there's two of them, correct?
So, yeah, and I guess,
So from the first one, we immediately started processing, and you could see through permitting that we started submitting our application and all that back
Okay.
in November, I believe it was.
okay, thank you, you can have a seat.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for either witness?
When was the deck finalized in work?
Who are you asking?
I'm sorry, the contractor.
Mr.
Well,
Knight?
We're still not really completely done. I mean, we still have a few things that have to be buttoned up on it.
Okay.
Wait, when did the work start?
But back when right around when we got the first notice, we had a good portion of the framing up.
Okay,
And he had, the thing is he had another permit from another contractor that was doing some other work at the house at the property. So I wasn't sure if we were gonna be able to attach to that, but he was getting ready to close his permit out. So that's a little bit where we got in the confusion of that, but,
well, my photos were taken in August,
Okay.
which was provided into evidence. You're saying the permit was requested in November,
we went after the permit when we got the first notice.
in August. When
I
the
don't
deck-
have the date
Okay.
exactly,
Which
whatever.
was
Well,
August.
That's about right.
So my question is your general practice to pull permits after the fact or
No.
prior?
No, we're supposed to pull it prior, but because he had an existing permit, I wasn't sure what it
On the
encompassed,
pool
cause he
and
had the
pavement.
site plan. He had the site plan, I wasn't sure if that was the plan that that original contractor had put in for permit, when he put in it for his permit. I didn't go through his permit and see where it was at. So when he showed me the site plan, my fault, I guess, as far as thinking that part of the permit was already pulled. And whether I would have signed on to his other guys as the subcontractor doing the deck portion. I wasn't 100% positive, especially with.
We kinda made a mess up. I should have, I didn't listen, I should have done what I thought was right, not necessarily another contractor's. I should have had the whole thing put together up front with the deck, cause the tiki bar, everything was put together, what happened on the inside of the house. So it was all pulled at one permit, and I didn't, because the contractors wanted to keep going, and I said, oh, if we do it this way, part by part by part, we'll be able to get going faster, get things done. And I'll accept some responsibility there, because we didn't do it, put the whole thing together at one time.
You have more questions?
No, I don't think I have any more questions, Your Honor.
You were showing him something.
I was just showing him the copies of the permits that were originally issued, and then the one that was issued in December, or not issued, but acquired in Storting, the application filed in December for the tiki hut itself. The first one was for the pool and deck renovation.
So with that, and the pool and deck renovation, because his site plan has, sorry. So this site plan is what he had, which I'm assuming.
Here.
Phone's too close
Right.
to the mic.
But unfortunately, our judge can't see that as evidence, as it wasn't exhibited into the case. There's no printouts of it.
Right.
But the pool itself and the exterior of the,
It's on the same
The deck
drawing with the
renovation?
pool, correct?
actually, I don't have the drawing myself, because I didn't pull that portion of the application. But the second one, it could be in there as well, but it doesn't even show in the plan reviews and review application on December 12th, 2024.
The site plans you mean?
And
No, the permit itself
Oh,
for the
the-
tiki hut,
Oh,
so the,
which they're saying addresses the decking as well. but this deck was already in start in
That's-
August.
Really bizarre that the phone is
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, sorry.
Is there a way that he can, email whatever document he's looking at to the clerk?
Yeah.
That way everybody has a copy of it?
I'll write that down.
It's whatever it takes to rectify. We're willing to, you know,
We're trying to comply.
Right, I understand.
so if
That's
it's,
our
if we have to,
approach.
if we need to have another permit, we'll pull another permit to make it work. We're fine with that. We just wanna move on, get things done, be correct and move on.
Okay, I understand. Either way, I would give him sufficient time to come into compliance before issuing any sort of penalty. I'll issue an order within the next 2 weeks as to, the specifics, but I will allow you, let me take a look at my calendar, just give me 1 second, please.
Your Honor, I would be okay with it if you were okay with it not doing the March hearing, because that way they could actually have absolutely, without a doubt, it completed in the issued status, and moving it to the April hearing if
Okay.
you would like for status check.
Alright, so, we can do that, I would provide, and you have to keep in mind there's gonna be a timeline, so my recommendation would be you move on this, cause it's not gonna happen overnight. But I will provide until the April magistrate hearing is scheduled for April 2nd, okay? So, I would say, I could tell you 30 days to at least get that process going, and then, we'll do a status check on April 2nd, which is the next magistrate hearing. Not the next one, the 2 magistrate hearings from now. And at that point, we'll check if you're in compliance, and if not, it could begin to accrue fines,
Sure.
okay?
Well,
But-
that should be more than plenty
Well, is that to pull a second permit, or?
So, yes, you need to talk with the permitting department and make sure that you pull the proper permit. If you have an existing permit, that it's corrected, that it's cleared, whatever it is you need to do to bring it into compliance, you need to work with them in order to get that permit and get it properly issued for whatever it is that you're building.
Right.
So if it's, the deck needs its own permit, then that's what you need to do to come into compliance. Coming into compliance would mean making sure that everything that's being built is properly permitted.
Okay, so we had,
Can you be on the microphone, sir?
we
Sorry.
had submitted everything from the site plan and other applications for the permit as a whole, because the way it was set up originally on the site plan and where it's drawn in there. I'm trying to,
Okay,
and my office has been going back and forth and sending the information, and they get part of it and then not the rest of it. We're expecting to have the permit, should be done relatively soon, but the question is whether it's a single permit for the tiki structure versus the deck
sure.
that the tiki's covering.
Okay, so, you can have a seat next to Mr. Sullivan, and then I'm gonna ask, is it Miss Rosa, I'm sorry? Miss Rosa? Is that right? Did I say that?
Yep.
Okay. Could you just tell him generally if he needs 2 permits, or, you don't have to go into great detail, yeah, you could come up. Just, you don't have to go into great detail, but just general, like, what it is that he needs, and then I'll explain to you what you need to do once she's
Maybe
here.
a clearer site plan, if she's not been able to see a clear site.
Goodness.
Let me turn it off.
That's very, I've
That's
never seen
a
that
new
with a
sound.
phone, yeah.
A clearer site plan that would show you that the deck is
Yeah,
basically
just
combined.
let her explain
Yeah.
whatever it is that she
It's
needs.
still doing it, I don't know what it is.
No, yeah, I just need a clearer site plan, just showing, if you could highlight the structure, because like when it was scanned in, it doesn't exactly show where it's
Yes.
at, and then I just need the setbacks.
Perfect, I can get that, in that, briefly in that little picture, it shows that it's already highlighted and hooked
Okay.
up from the site plan, but I'll have her physically
Microphone.
bring you a copy, would be probably better. Physically bring you a copy versus scanning it and sending it in,
Mhm.
technical sometimes doesn't work.
That should be fine.
Okay,
Perfect.
so what you have to do is communicate with the town and ensure that whatever it is they need for that permit to be issued for whatever it is that you're building gets done, you provide whatever you need to provide, and you do whatever it is that you need to do to satisfy that permitting requirement. That I can't tell you what that is because I'm not the permitting department,
Understood.
but I need you to work with them, and then you have until April 2nd, everyone's gonna come back here, and then they're gonna tell me whether whatever was required of you was done, and what the status of that is. If you are not complying with the requests or whatever, then we talk about penalties at that point. Or if there's some hang up for some reason, we just discuss that status and see what we do at that point,
Not a
okay?
problem. Yes, ma'am. I'll have her bring down a full paper copy of
Okay.
everything instead of scanning anything, so there's nothing.
Okay, you just need to, you just need to work with the permitting department to get that done, to bring it into compliance. So you'll have until then, the next hearing, April 2nd. I don't suggest that you wait until then, because, you know, things take time. But,
Today.
that's why I say you would have at least 30 days to get somewhat into compliance, and like you said, then it has to be finalized and everything by April 2nd. So,
We'll bring it down today.
does that work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, substantial compliance, 30 days, and then status on April 2nd. That work?
Fair enough.
Okay. All right, so I'll issue an order, but those are generally the terms.
We'll make it happen.
Okay? Do you need any contact information or anything?
No,
Got it.
my
Perfect.
office calls close to daily.
Perfect, okay. Is there anything else that we need to address with this matter? No questions on anything? Okay, anything else I need to address on the order? Okay, I'm just making sure, that sometimes, all right, perfect. Then that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Let me go back to the agenda. Okay, so, the town may call is next case, and I'm so sorry, give me 1 second. I have a lot of things open right now. Okay, so it's case number 2024-0786. Address is 7864 Buccaneer Drive, Lyons, Henry. Or, I guess Henry, is that correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Good morning, Your Honor. My name's Officer Babb, Code Compliance Officer with the Town of Fort Myers Beach, and I've served in the capacity for approximately 10 months and 5 years prior experience elsewhere. I've been sworn in and will provide testimony and documentation regarding this case. I have recently been in contact with the property owner, Henry Lyons, on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, in which was our first contact. I did go over the case with him, and he advised me he would be able to get the property in full compliance within 30 days. I agreed as a representative for the town of Fort Myers Beach to request a continuance to March 5th, 2025, as to grant the extension of time as compliance is our ultimate goal. At this time, I would like to request a continuance of case 2024-0786 for the address of 7864 Buccaneer Drive, Fort Myers Beach, Florida 33931, to March 5th, 2025, and to accept into record true, accurate, and altered copies of an affidavit of noncompliance, photos taken on February 3rd, 2025, upon reinspection showing the property is still in violation, and a copy of an email confirmation of contact between me and the respondent and myself, between respondent and myself.
You- Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, you're asking for this to be admitted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, you can admit it.
Okay.
Yes, it can be admitted, and there's nobody.
here.
Okay.
It's that we're asking that we can put this to March 5th, next hearing, for continuance,
All right,
allowing him an extra 30 days to have somebody, because he's out of state,
right, okay.
so.
That's not a problem. So we'll allow for until March 5th hearing to have, Mr. Lyons come into compliance on that one. I can just issue an order of just continuance and then we'll bring it back. Okay, perfect. All right. That works.
That way, if he has to be present, he can be.
Perfect. Okay. And of course I didn't print this out, so, that's it for that case. Then we have certification of liens, status updates, anything else on, no, there's nothing on these, right? I'm just making sure there's nothing that I need
No,
to.
ma'am.
Okay, no status updates today. Okay, is that all then that we,
That's it.
okay, well then,